What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Daily, August 28th, 2022. Ending the week here. We're currently up $400, so we're trying to finish off the week strong. It's going to be our fourth straight winning week in a row, so you got to love that, right, Papa Dude?
You better believe it, and you know who the most reliable people are for this show, me and you.
Here we are.
I know.
We get texted Aaron. The time. I texted Aaron. He's off at a coffee shop. It's like, come on, man.
There's no excuse.
None. I wanted to hear about. I was excited to hear from Aaron how it actually was to be at the track yesterday for the Travers. Obviously, huge day of racing. Got to see some superstars run extremely well. Jack Christopher looked great. Mm-hmm. But man, Epicenter just absolutely romped. What did you think of Epicenter, Papa Dude?
Well, I thought he was unbelievable and made up for kind of a disappointing day for Steve Asmussen. You know, he struggled. Puzzling the Clariere situation, just didn't run. I don't know what the deal was there. And then Jackie getting beat was a real upset to all of us. But you know what? Sometimes you get beat, and it's that simple. The other horse ran well, ran him down and beat him. And but Epicenter was fantastic. And I thought the Von Hemmel horse ran okay. I did. And, something, and I don't want to get into this much, but I don't understand a lot of how breeding works and things of that nature. But isn't it amazing? It is so amazing to me. And like I say, I'm not a farmer or anything, how an Iowa bred, an Oklahoma bred, an Arkansas bred, even a Florida bred just can't stack up to those other horses that are bred in other places. Isn't that amazing?
It's awfully interesting. I mean, when you get into the breeding side of horse racing, there's a ton of information out there and how they try to specifically breed to like the third grandchildren, whatever it is. It's kind of crazy when you get into it. But there's a max amount of number of mares that a stud can cover, and that limits some of those studs going to places like Oklahoma, like Arkansas, like Iowa. And a lot of people don't have the mares that they want to pay $125,000 for, $250,000 into Mischief, for instance, to kind of have those horses in those areas. Although you got to say, I mean, like if you look at the New York breeding, exponentially better than it was 10 years ago. You now have some New York breds that are top level horses. And now with the new rules about what is and is not a New York bred and what is and not a state bred horse, I think you're going to see some of those places get better and better. I think one of the main stories, one of the main takeaways from yesterday is going to be about those numbers that came back. I don't know if you've seen the Beyers yet. We're going to dive into this on Monday on the Magic Mike Show quite a bit. Jackie's Warrior got a 109. It's the second best number Jackie's Warrior's ever gotten. You get a 105 for Rich Strike, 105 for Cyberknife, 105 for I can't remember who finished there, and a 112 for Epicenter. So monster numbers come back there. Latruska gets a 101, tying her number from last year's personal license that she rolled in. Just some very, very odd numbers that came back. Jack Christopher's number, even though he ran faster, was worse than Jackie's Warrior. So just really interesting numbers that came back. We're going to have to dive into that and figure out which ones are accurate, which ones are not, and how much we can kind of trust. Some of these numbers came back. It's just very, very odd from a Beyer perspective to see how some of these races ended up coming.
Yeah, and you know so much more about that than I do, but that is odd, isn't it? That Jack Christopher was below Jackie.
It's because the final furlong was slower for Jack Christopher, even though he ran a faster final time. But he also went 22, 44, 108, which was faster than Jackie's Warrior did. So I'm willing to forgive that. But I because of how Beyers are calculated, that specific final furlong time obviously affects the number. But for Jackie's Warrior to get a 109 in a loss and Jack Christopher to get a 105 in a win when he ran faster seems a little bit off to me. So be interesting to see what the time form numbers come back. A lot of times you have some discrepancies between the two, specifically when the early pace is hot and the horse slows down a little bit toward the end. That's going to flatter the time form number more than the Beyer number. So I'm interested to see what time form comes back at and if they kind of agree with some of these numbers that you saw from Saratoga yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it was a great day of racing, that's for sure. And what a bunch of superstars that ran. It was fun to watch.
It really was. And you mentioned Clariere, Marla. I hope Clariere is okay. Lori asking, do we draw a line through that? For me, yes, there was the break that got Clariere. I mean, she did not break well at all, was not where she wanted to be. She was ahead or she was close to Malathat for the mass majority of the previous race that they ran against each other. She was 10 lengths behind yesterday. I mean, it was just not where she wanted to be. And the pace wasn't very fast. I was disappointed Latruska wasn't able to take that field gate to wire. When you saw her put up 24-48 numbers, that generally means that she's going to wire that field. So a little surprised she fell off. Malathat adds blinkers. That was the second time blinkers for Malathat. You saw the improvement there, really able to take a step forward, looked a lot more comfortable yesterday. That division's a mess now. I know a lot of people are going to love Nest, and she's going to get hammered in the Breeders' Cup distaff now. She's never run a 105. That's what Malathat just came back with. Clariere got a 106 last race. She's never run a 106. So it's going to be interesting to see what the off odds are for Nest, because she's going to have to improve quite a bit to be able to beat the fillies we saw yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think that Latruska is starting to show some age?
I do. I would probably retire her after that effort. It was a good effort, and obviously 101 higher, very big number, but the old Latruska wins that race every time, going 48 to the half. She just does. And so you could tell that she just doesn't have the same juice that she did last year and the previous year. So she's done so much for the connections. I hope they do the right thing by her. Maybe you'll see her in the distaff. I hope not. Hopefully that was her last race.
Yeah. I kind of said yesterday, I thought she was starting to show her age, but I thought she ran really well yesterday. She really did. So.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I was bummed she couldn't get it done. I had some shekels on her, but what can you do? All right, let's jump over to Del Mar, talk a little bit about the Rancho Bernardo handicap, grade 3, the 8th race on the card. This one is for older fillies going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. And it drew a ton of speed. I mean, you've got the 3-horse Dance to the Music who's going to want the lead. The 4-horse Slammed will want the lead. And the 5-horse, your favorite, Edgeway at 7-5 out of the John Sadler barn is going to try and go to the front as well. Where'd you end up on top here, Papa Dude?
Well, I like Edgeway, I like Slammed, and I like Private Mission. I am one of these guys. I go to the horse that wins a lot. This is a step up in class for Slammed. So a little worried about that. She's won 5 out of this last 6, running extremely well. Edgeway's the defending champ, and coming off a layoff, not that long, so it's probably fresh. Been training well, ready to go. And then I think you got to throw Private Mission in there too. This horse is won a grade 2. What was it, the Santa Maria? I think that was probably at Santa Anita. And he finished well back when they jumped him off to the grade 1. Clement Hirsch, he did not run well there. This is probably the level he needs to be at. Or is it a he? Is it a he or she?
She,
yeah. So I like those 3. Put them any way you want. I think are you leaning towards Edgeway?
So this is a race where I think that last half furlong is going to make a big difference. I like Slammed. I had Slammed in that last race. I took him off a layoff in the 4-year-old seasons. A thing that I like quite a bit about Slammed. But man, Dance to the Music, Slammed, and Edgeway are all going to go, and I think it just sets up perfectly for Private Mission on the cutback.
Okay.
I think Private Mission is going to sit right behind the 3 of them and be able to run them down. I even like the 1-horse Empire House just a little bit, because I think that those top 3 are going to be flying early, and you're going to see some horses that are able to kind of come up late and get a piece. So I don't hate the idea of I'm going to play Private Mission on top, but I don't hate the idea of putting Empire House at 20-1 somewhere underneath, just in case she's able to pick up the pieces as a couple fall off late.
And she might do that. We see that a lot in these races. Yeah.
So I'm going to play a cold try 6-5-1.
Yeah, you rarely see the top 3 finish 1, 2, 3, right? You don't
not often, no. Especially again, 6.5 at a stakes level race where you have multiple horses that want the lead. They're going to be going fast up front, and it's going to set it up for someone who wants to just try and run third. I mean, the thing is, the connections for the 1, they'd love to win the race, but man, they'd be happy with third, right? The 3 and the 4, they both. Their goal is to win the race, whereas the 1 really is just looking to get black type here. So interesting setup. I think you might be able to get a little bit of a price home. Marla, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. We had a blast yesterday. Magic and I were on live for the Travers. I think it was about 3 hours or so. A lot of fun. Really appreciate everyone who jumped on. Had almost 1,000 people in the room at one point. So thank you very much, everybody who checked out the show. And Marla, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. All right, Papa Dude, let's head to some best bets here.
Okay.
Aaron's taking a real shot in the feature. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Ballerina is a wonderful race today at Saratoga.
It is.
But before we do that, let's jump over to your best bet here. It's an oldie but a goodie. Just going back to the dwell, man. I love it.
Well, I tell you, again, I feel so fortunate to have gotten the bet yesterday. These games are killing me. The Cardinals came from behind the bottom of the 9th and won. I'm kind of getting these right, but they're not going the way I think they're going to go, so you kind of so I love the matchup today in this one. Can't win a lot of money. I almost bet a parlay, And I want to continue the hot streak. And, it's hard enough getting one, let alone two. But I want to throw this game out in case anybody's kind of interested maybe in doing a parlay. The Giants and Twins game today, I think, is very interesting. The Twins are slight favorites. They've got a horrible pitcher going today in Aaron Sanchez, 7.36 ERA. And the Giants pitcher, Jacob Junis, is not that bad. And I like the matchup, and I think the Giants should win the game. The problem is they're sketchy. They don't hit the ball very well. Their bullpen is a mess. So it's a little sketchy with them, The Cardinal game, let's get back to the one my grandson and I decided to go with. By the way, he's keeping me red hot here too. Adam Wainwright is fantastic at home, and he's pitching for the Cardinals today in a huge game. This could be a matchup in the playoffs between the Braves and the Cardinals, and this is kind of a swing game. Maybe it's the rubber game of the series. Wainwright's going to pitch well tonight. He is pretty reliable. He's pitched very, very well. 9 runs, last 33 innings. In the dictionary, beside consistent, is Adam Wainwright's picture. So I like him. The Braves pitcher has not pitched well since they got him from Houston. Jake Odorizzi, I think is how you pronounce that. He's had 4 starts with Atlanta, has not pitched very well. Minus 130, I don't really like that too well. I wish it was a little lower, but I got to go with the Cardinals. I think they're going to win this one. It's Sunday night baseball in St. Louis. They're going to be ready to play.
Well, you and Aaron have both been crushing Sunday night baseball. I think you've won 3 straight weeks with the game of the week here on Sunday. Yeah, the Cardinals 42 and 21, I believe, or 41 and 22 at home. Wainwright 3.11 ERA overall, but 2.11 at home, so significantly better at home. This is also probably Wainwright's last season. It's one of the spots where he wants to pitch well here in front of this home crowd on a nationally televised game. So I like the Cardinals here as well. 130 is a little bit heavy against the Braves, but I think that they are your more likely winner tonight. So hopefully the Cardinals can come through for you and get another one done. All right, we're going to jump into my best bet before covering the feature over at Saratoga. I'm going to head to race number 7, and I'm going to take the 2-horse Freedom of the Press, 5-2 on the morning line, in a field that I thought came up pretty light here. If you go back, so this is a horse that I think has had 3 straight rough trips. The race 3 back going 7 furlongs at Belmont was on a hot pace, 22-3, 45-2 for the opening half at 7 furlongs is fast for Belmont. Then the next race out comes back and is on the pace, 21-1, 44 flat, going 6 furlongs at Belmont. Cuts back to 5.5 at Saratoga, which is the distance Freedom of the Press wants to run. Last time out, got an awful trip, had to check pretty bad. And they was not able to be in the position that they wanted to be in. You get Saez back on this horse who rode him 3 and 4 back, and you're dropping down from the optional allowances down into the claiming level. I love the 5-2 price. I think you're going to get every bit of the 5-2 price. I think this is a deserving favorite in a pretty weak field. So I'm going with the 2-horse Freedom of the Press here in the 7th.
All right, let's get him home.
All right, now let's head over for Aaron's best bet, and we'll talk about the Ballerina here. And this one surprised me. Aaron's going to go with the 2-horse Obligatory in the Ballerina. I'm 4 deep in not using this horse in this race. I thought this was a very, very, very tough race. So the argument for Obligatory, the horse that I actually loved on Derby Day at Churchill, very good at 7 furlongs, 2 for 5, 2 wins. That Bet of Roses the last time at Belmont, sneaky good. I mean, ends up running second, but is 10 lengths clear of Glass Ceiling, who runs third. There was a slow pace that day. Bella Sophia was able to walk up front, and Obligatory still able to run into it. Today, she will get more pace to chase. So I understand the theory there. Mott has 3 in this spot. I actually like one of them at 12-1 in there. What did you think of Obligatory? Then let's talk about the race in general.
Okay, so you don't like the horse?
Not today. No, I think this is
really
a really tough field.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great field. Yeah, I looked at that. It really is. I have him on top also. I like CC a little bit too. Never have really bet that horse much, but it's running really well. And then I have Bella Sophia in 3rd, and then I have Lady Rocket 4th. Any of those horses can win. And you say you have another one. So I'm kind of with Aaron. The horse has been running really well. Been freshened a little, hadn't run since the 10th of June, so ought to be ready to go. So I'm on the horse also, and I think it's going to be a great race to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a phenomenal race. I agree that you're going to get the right price today on obligatory. You should get every bit of that 7-2 number. CC, your defending Breeders' Cup Sprint filly and mare champion here. The one horse is going to be your favorite, sitting on the board at 2-1. I would guess it's going to fall down to like 8-5, 7-5, somewhere in that range. She's a deserving favorite, but like I said, this field is awfully tough. You got Mott with 3 in here. He's got obligatory, the 2 horse. Carmel Swirl, the 3, who's taken a step up in class. And then the horse that I like a little bit, the 6 horse Travel Column, sitting on the board at 12-1. This one is second off a layoff, second time out as a 4-year-old. Ran through the Kentucky Oaks Trail as a 3-year-old. Ran very well as a 2-year-old, then took a step forward as a 3-year-old. She was actually 3.5-1 against Malathat in search results in the Kentucky Oaks. Takes a long break. And if you go back and you watch that race at Churchill, she was loaded. Never asked a second to win. Never asked to run a step there. Wins by open lengths, and then comes to Saratoga and bullets over this track. Mott with 3 in here. He doesn't usually do that in these type of races. He thinks this horse fits. 12-1, I think, is a great price, and this is a horse that could take a monster step forward today.
You bet. Makes sense. Do you like Lady Rocket at all?
I'm going to use Lady Rocket too. I think she's dangerous up front. She could get she's going to be the speed of the speed. And really, there isn't anyone else who wants to lead. That's the thing about this field, is that Lady Rocket wants to be in front. Everyone else kind of wants to sit in second or third.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to go crazy pushing her up front. And if she gets loose, she could be tough here. She just came out of a race where she wired the field last time out, going 7 furlongs. She's 4 for 6 at the distance, 1 for 1 at Saratoga. I could legitimately make a case for every horse in this race, and that's what makes this race so tough.
It's a great race, especially coming after Travers Day, and you got a race like this. That's pretty impressive. It really is.
We didn't even mention Goodnight Olive, who's 4 for 5, lost on debut by a half a length, and has been improving every single race for Chad Brown. And he throws this one into the deep end. It's been facing Allowance Company, and now we're going right up into the Grade 1 Ballerina. So I think the 7 Goodnight Olive is a little interesting at a price as well. Sure. So this is a phenomenal betting race.
Yeah,
it's tough to take CC at 2-1 because of how many options you have to go here. I'm going to put the Travel Column at 12-1 on top and see if we can get a bomb home. Wow. Aaron likes obligatory here at 7-2. You like obligatory as well. That's going to be his best bet of the day. Anything else you want to say before we sign off here, Papa?
One more thing, and just very quickly, because I know you're busy. College football started yesterday. Okay, what's so funny is, remember, I gave you 2 picks yesterday. I only missed 3 all day long, and that was 2 of them. So the comment I said, don't bet much on opening day. You just can't. And next week, you got to be careful too. So, because we just don't know what these teams are. And I don't know whether I know you were on the air in the Nebraska game. I want to mention one thing. I'm sure you saw what happened in that game, or did you?
I have not. I didn't watch that game at all because I was on the airport. Right. I missed that one.
This is what makes coaching so difficult. All right, Nebraska has the momentum. They've gone up 28-17. Okay, so they decide to kick an onside kick. Now, really, when you think about it, it is a surprise move when you're up by 11. And the theory was, if they get it, they got all the momentum, they're going to go down and score, ball game's over. Now, the problem is you have to execute the onside kick. And the kicker absolutely kicked the worst onside kick I have ever seen. The object of the onside kick is to try to make it bounce. He just kicked a little dribbler. It's like you swing real hard at a baseball and you just dribble it down the third baseline. It didn't bounce, went right to the other guy. So Scott Frost is getting roasted, and he probably deserves some of it, but because the timing of it wasn't right. You got all the momentum. Here's the other. You got all the momentum, and here's the other thing. If you're Nebraska and you really think you're back and you're up over Northwestern by 11 points, you don't do that. That's the dumb thing.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to make on Twitter, and of course, when you throw something out, you get blasted. Had it worked, and had they gone out and scored, he would have been a genius. But it didn't work, and now he's in more trouble than he was before the game ever started, which he was in deep shit then. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, look, just the description of that's a wildly boneheaded decision. I agree with you. If you execute, you'll probably recover it.
Yeah.
But you're facing Northwestern.
Yes.
Who has an anemic offense.
Exactly.
It's been struggling to score based on the score and the timing. And I was watching the screen, so I was following it, but not actually watching the game. Kick the ball deep. Trust your defense. And by the way, don't show that. You don't need to do that against Northwestern. Now you can't use that play for the rest of the year. Even if you executed it, you can't use it for the rest of the year. So you're blowing one of your trick plays in the first game against Northwestern when you're up 11. I see, like, that's, some people love these like fake punts in these certain situations and trick plays. You can only use that once. Once it's on film, they mention it every single week in the film room. Everyone who plays Nebraska will now say, be aware of an onside kick.
And they probably saw on film Northwestern was vulnerable, maybe just something like that. But the kicker's got to execute. And the other thing is, if you're supposed to be good and you're 11 up on Northwestern, who's not good, you don't do that. You just don't. And it backfired. And the other thing is, they got more problems than this, Nebraska fans. If any of you are Nebraska fans, they gave up over 500 yards total offense to Northwestern.
I mean, the other part of this is if you don't get the onside kick, you just ruined your momentum too.
You did. They took it right down.
You're handing it right to Northwestern, and then if they score, then all of a sudden the train's rolling downhill on you. It's just, there's a time and a place. That was not it.
It wasn't. No.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us here on Dudes Who Bet Daily. It's going to wrap up this week. Let's take a look at our best bets here before we go. Aaron, taking the Ballerina and going with obligatory. Tough pick here. I like the balls on that one. Papa Dude taking Cardinals minus 130 here. I'm going to go to race number 7. I'm going to play Freedom of the Press 5-2 on the morning line. The 2-horse there, 8-8 for the week, but up $400. We had a nice exact earlier this week. Magic came through with a nice plus 145. Papa Dude, you've turned it around here late in the week as well. So hopefully we can keep it rolling and have another winning day to end the week here. We will see everybody back on Wednesday. We'll be back at noon on Wednesday, and we'll have Dudes Who Bet Daily every day next week, Wednesday through Sunday. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good luck today with all of your bets.